Is Dr. Marcelo Graziano. He's an assistant professor in the Department of Geography at Central Michigan University. And his talk is entitled Economic Analysis of the Oil Industry in the Region, Preliminary Analysis.
Thank you everyone for being here today, for having me as a speaker. See if I can make this properly. So, our study is part of a series of studies funded by the Great Lakes Commission to explore more the impacts, ecological, economic, and logistics impacts of transporting crude oil in the Great Lake region. I'm going to present today briefly, and please yell at me because I'm an academic, I can't really shut up. Plus I'm Italian, so that compounds it. The results of a work that I co-authored along with Peter Gunther from the University of Connecticut and Dr. Evelema from Central Michigan University. This is a preliminary analysis. Mostly what we did was to gather data, identify data gaps or mismatches, because as we've seen before, we're talking about a region that spans across 8 states, 2 provinces, 2 nations, multiple federal agencies that might or may not consider the Great Lakes region a region in itself, and they definitely have different definitions for it. So, I will skip quickly through the introduction and objectives, and just because I think the audience pretty much got a good introduction by Professor Hull, and focus more on the state of the sector and some other alternative routes or initial economic assessment that we tried to do to identify, playing a little bit with the data that we had. Speakers earlier made it quite clear that the Great Lakes region is becoming very, very important, central in hosting a series of infrastructure for transporting crude oil. You see here 2 graphs, which I really like. One is for the crude oil production for oil sands and Bakken shale, and the other one is a graph showing the exports from Canada into the United States. And Canada is the first exporter of crude oil to the United States, 38% of all oil imports according to the EIA. Not all of these necessarily goes to the Great Lakes region, but a good portion of. And a little bit of previous works that have been done similar to what we're trying to attempt, we would like to do in a phase 2 really, so a more in-depth economic impact analysis of the entire industry, the entire sector of transporting crude oil. We identified a few for the region, the Great Lakes region, or for an entire countries like Canada or the United States. There are far more studies that have been done throughout the years for other areas of the country, particularly Texas and Oklahoma, of course, or California. These are a few that are quite recent. We had a few issues that we identified with them. They are not all of these studies are independent, meaning they were funded by lobby groups or interest groups, which doesn't necessarily speak to the integrity of the authors, but certainly might raise some concern. Sometimes the underlying data sets or models were proprietary in nature, so we can't take them apart. And I like to think that also economists are scientists, so I like to take apart things and data. Many of these studies were regional and local, particularly one that used a fantastic economic regional model called REMI, authored by Clinton, focused on Ohio only, so it was only partly relevant. And not always they put in contrast to necessarily model the alternatives in transportation. Sometimes they only focus on one mode of transportation, as you can see there, pipeline or rail and whatnot. For this particular study, we had 3 main objectives, which was, as I said before, to identify data and collect them. And we created extensive Excel files that we share with the Great Lakes Commission, and that I'm not presenting them today, for mapping the data that we found. We wanted to quantify a little bit in terms of size the sector, the composite of industries for transporting crude oil in the region. We also wanted to have an initial understanding whether or not the industry could become relevant for the states in the Great Lakes. And this is very important given recent news for other economic impact analysis that have been done for major infrastructural projects that involve crude oil transportation in other parts of the United States. Not last, the Dakota Access Pipeline, which, according to the latest study by the Brookings Institute, will provide only full-time permanent jobs. So is the Great Lakes region endowed with strength in the industries that are relevant for transporting crude oil, or should we look somewhere else? Or it requires perhaps some investments in those sectors. Let's skip this. I think we're all literate about that by now. So the Great Lakes region per se, already for us, and I arrived in the Great Lakes region in Michigan in July, and it was already a question of area definition. Now, this is not to be a pedantic academic, but for us it's quite important. Like, how big is that? Do we follow just the political boundaries of the states and the provinces? Fine. But certainly my data, the data on jobs, employment, and so forth, will start look a little bit funny, perhaps, because I start having a lot of people employed in the financial sector. Thank you, New York, and also Philadelphia. I'm starting seeing some funny facts in the coal industry, for instance, and so forth. So we decided to be a little bit flexible in the area extent. We used the watershed definition, Great Lakes region and the Southern Seaway, to expand a little bit more all the way up toward the blue line. So up here, a little bit. And we also included Chicago in several data sets, the Chicago metro area as a separate unit. Reason being that Chicago is the beast of the region, as we said before. However, by watershed definition, only a tiny portion of two counties belong to the watershed. So that's, you can see it's a little, can create some issues when looking at the data. And then the rest we mapped here. Pink areas, of course, are belonging to the United States. The bluish one belonging to Canada. And we excluded portions of Quebec and Ontario, which belong more to the subarctic or Atlantic regions. This is the final structure of the data that we collected, massive amounts of Excel files, as I said before, from various sources, including the Department of Transportation, the Freight Analysis Framework, FAF, U.S. Department of Energy, and so forth. The difficulty mainly are two. First of all, as I said before, different agencies on both sides of the border might or may not consider this region as a standalone region. For the Energy Information Administration, which is, in my view, the best energy agency probably in the world in terms of data, the region itself is split in two, at least. And so data are collected accordingly. That makes a big difference because the size of the industry changes whether or not they start including the Dakotas in my analysis. You can understand that. Similarly, there are data mismatches between Canada and the US in terms of definition. What is crude oil? The question that Michelle asked me before conference, how much crude oil is transported in the United States and Canada every year? It's not easy because data collected by different agencies give a different definition and aggregate things differently. As I said before, like taking things apart. Finally, for the United States, it's easy to find data. And I think as Americans, data geek, it makes my life much easier. For Canada, that's not the case. Several results I will show later are based on 2011 accounting matrices. We have to wait until the end of 2017, I believe, or the next census round to have the updated version of those matrices. There might be local partial data set at provincial level, but they're not good enough for me if I have to think in terms of regions. And also there are some issues with proprietary information in relation to even things that in the United States are already available, like the NAICS codes data, or pipeline capacity and actual amounts of crude oil transported within each province. Those are all data that are far from being easy to be collected for researchers. So that already creates a little bit of discrepancy, and that's why now I'm treating U.S. states, the Great Lakes in the U.S. and the Great Lakes in Canada as separate entities in parallel. In terms of last assumption, when I talk about the sectors, the crude oil transportation sector is composed of industries. We use the NAICS codes, North American Industrial Classification System. For Canada, it's our 4 digits equivalent. This is not, again, to be pedantic, but there is already a big difference. Is that refineries at 4-digit level are put together with coal power plants and other sorts of power plants. So immediately my sector is bigger. My refineries look bigger in their economic impact because I'm including things that don't use oil. For the United States, we have selected these NAICS code instead that are equivalent to these industries over here. This choice was, yes, arbitrary, but based on all the previous studies we've seen before and internal searches, so they are usually accepted as part of the sector or involved in the transportation of crude oil. So let's give some numbers. And these have been actually shown a little bit before. The region itself, the watershed, for the data we could access, and actually looking forward to the House report and then talking a little bit on more precise data, and about 2,300 kilometers of pipelines, 11 refineries, 49 power plants. Number of refineries has been counted in terms of the financial statements, the way they are filed, rather than the actual plant. Maybe a little bit more than that. 7 liquid crossing points as defined by the EIA, 109 oil product terminals, and so forth. On the other side here, you see what happens if I start following the political boundaries of the Great Lakes region. Which one is better? It depends what we're trying to do, of course. Now, what does it mean in economic terms? For the US GLR, so the watershed of the Great Lake region, we have about 496 firms that are categorized as being part of those industries that I listed before. The number is 180 in Canada. Now, for this data set, I had the actual 6 digits NAICS, which is great, because it's the way this company purchased the data set from and access to the 6 digits for this particular purpose. That also creates a basing of 15,000 self-reported employees and 11,000 in Canada. So you see in Canada there are a little more, employees a little higher per company. And the total revenues are $14.5 billion for the United States, a little less than $5 billion for Canada. Again, watershed we're talking about. And then we have Chicago in the last column. Now, needless to say, actually not useful to say this, but most of these revenues come from industries, establishment that are defined as petroleum refineries, so in the refining process. Now you might say, well, wait a minute, you said there are 11 refineries, how come you have 148 here? That's the way the NAICS codes work. It's because some of these refineries might have multiple firms associated with their location, multiple legal entities, and each one has a different payroll, and different social security paperwork, and therefore they carry different entities. But the bottom line is that they provide direct jobs as self-reported. So this amount of people, they make up, as you see, most of the revenues in the region. Reason being is because they are the one refining and reselling the final product. That's why they also may have the lion's share in terms of economic impact, we will say in a minute. And then it follows pipeline and transportation, which is quite important in both regions, but I would say, given the total amount of revenues in Canada, a little bit more. $1.1 billion every year. These data are for 2016. So Is it a lot? It's not a lot, but if you gave me $14 billion, I would probably say, yeah, that's a lot of money. For the sales, that represents 0.36% of all sales in the region. It's not bad. It's not good. It's the way it is. Ideally, to me, I'm a regional economist and an energy economist. The best result would be sales equals zero. Not meaning that they don't sell oil, but meaning that energy is free. That's great, because we're going to enable a bunch of other things to happen. What is interesting is that, however, most of the companies operating in the watershed are defined as low-tech or more classic technology. They're not high-tech, innovative firms in terms of classification by Infogroup. So they are quite traditional in their technology use. They don't engage in necessarily high-tech, groundbreaking advancement in the sector. In terms of jobs, the self-report is 0.1% of the entire region. The other thing is that in Canada, in Ontario and Quebec, there are more jobs that relate to planning and designing of the pipelines, of the rail and so forth, particularly for this last sector, which contribute to have a slightly higher impact. And this is a visual representation of what we've seen before. The quantiles relate to income. As part of the report, we were interested in seeing whether or not these companies concentrating more urban areas versus rural areas. And I apologize if projected might be a little bit messy, bigger, definitely it's better. And you can see that they follow the concentration of urban areas for most part. Chicago here is not included, but we have the Toronto metro area, Detroit, along the edges here of the Detroit areas and so forth, and Montreal up there. Another aspect that we were looking at is what's the broader view. Okay, we have 6,000 jobs from this industry. That's all interesting, but those jobs support other jobs. The jobs generate an impact. So we wanted to know where the purchases made for all these companies. So through different assets, we started taking apart how things are purchased by these firms, and we saw that for most part, the purchases in terms of value of what is needed by these industries to operate are made from outside of the region. Again, not a surprise, because the lion's share of what all these industries purchase when transporting crude oil is crude oil. And that's not extracted in the Great Lakes region. But that has to be taken into account to a certain extent, because basically what this table is showing you is that $33 billion, more or less, flow out of the region, and the rest comes from inside of the region every year to operate these industries, essentially. In that sense, that's what it means. The other thing that we try to do, but we'd like to do it better, with better data on infrastructure and the ecological impacts, are the costs. As I said before, previous studies usually look at benefits, but what about the costs? What about the costs of spills? What about the costs of life lost? My understanding, but this symposium sees an occasion to learn more about it, is that the difference between rail transportation of oil and pipeline is the sound. A pipeline leaks and does psst, and rail accident does boom. So there are differences, of course, in the impacts that has, and the way to account for those costs. And we try to calculate the cost of pipeline spills in the region for spills related only to crude oil, so not other refined products. In the region between 2012 and 2015, we have data that goes back into the 80s. We didn't do that simply to take a moderate view, but also to account for changes in technologies, although probably in terms of infrastructure there hasn't been that much of a change. So for pipelines, Kalamazoo oil spill is excluded, but one could go back in time and put that in costs. And the cost of CO2 emissions that Dr. Abelema tried to model for this particular, for the sector, which amount to $146 million a year. Then of course that value depends on the value assumed for the per ton social cost of CO2. So my time, I guess it's done. I will jump to the conclusions. And actually to the next steps, more so than the conclusion. What we'd like to do next is to use the regional economic model, REMI, to include health, sociological, and humanity costs of spills and accidents, not just spills, and also to do a counterfactual analysis of all the industry. What would happen if transportation of crude oil disappeared? And that would give us the answer of the actual full benefits of the industry throughout the region. What would happen if we started shifting to different modes? Rail, increase rail, reduce pipeline, and so forth. And then what we'd like to see is to perhaps start pushing for harmonizing data, and why not even revising the way that federal agencies on both sides of the border identify the Great Lakes region. It seems to me that it's a region and should be treated as such. That would be actually quite useful for policymakers, stakeholders alike. And then building upon the blue accounting effort in Michigan, perhaps also identifying who is where is the burden of cleanup costs and soft costs like brand, for instance. If I have a spill, doesn't really sound very good to attract and retain talent and workers in a certain area, even after it cleaned up and everything went back to normal. So that would be something interesting to explore. Thank you for your time.